You tuning in to Bogans Breakdown.
Bam. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is episode 5 of Bogans Breakdown with the one and the only 14-year NBA veteran, Mr. Keith Bogans. Mr. Keith, how are you doing so far this week? Yeah, a lot of stuff happening right now in the NBA world. We just came off the finals. You know, I promised not to talk about the outcome or, who won or anything.
Well, it's all good. You got the right for a month.
Not wearing the colors this week.
I see that.
We're trying to play it neutral, unbiased journalist.
You got at least a month, 2 month run. Y'all won the championship.
No, you know what? I'm humble. I'm just gonna go. When you have 18, you don't really. You just focused on 19 right away. But so we're
19.
back to work. We're back to work already.
Back to work. Back to the drawing board.
So free agency is upon us, and I think the biggest news so far, outside of the trade that just happened with the Knicks and the Nets, JJ Reddick signed as the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. Keith, you played with JJ once upon a time. First of all, what was it like playing with JJ as a teammate?
JJ's a great guy. Was a great teammate. I think he was my teammate his rookie year, so I got him when he was fresh in. We made him go through a lot his rookie year, but overall he's a good guy. I think it's going to be a lot of pressure. He's in L.A. I think he has to take the same mindset he probably had as a player, and you got to block everything out, all the distractions. And, we'll see. I think it's going to be interesting. I'm rooting for him. He's a good friend of mine, so I definitely want to see him do well.
So he is, he's going to be coaching LeBron James, which has been a tough job for any head coach, really. Has anybody really had it easy coaching LeBron?
I don't think anybody had it. I think this is going to be a different dynamic, though. It's going to be interesting to watch. Knowing LeBron, knowing JJ. Only time will tell. I think the communication will be there. It's a lot of things that we don't know that probably goes on behind the scenes that I think these guys will work well together. But like I said, only time will tell.
I know this is kind of speculating, but do you think perhaps this is what LeBron wanted? Maybe this was his desired result?
I don't think anything happens in L.A. without LeBron's say-so. That's the power that he has. But I'm pretty sure he has some say-so on who comes in and who coaches him. He could damn near coach the team himself if he wanted to.
So I guess that kind of ties into the draft a little bit, which is happening tonight. We'll have a special draft episode. But the big question is Bronny James. Where does he end up? And do you think there's some master plan for the three of them to get together in L.A.?
So I tell people all the time. How many teams is it now? 30 teams in the NBA. All it takes is one GM to like him. We can listen to the media, we can hear this. It takes one owner and one GM to like Bronny James, and Bronny James will get picked. That's how I look at it. He's talented. He can play. People are doubting him. It's hard to fill LeBron James' shoes. So I don't think it's fair to him because of the comparison. Who are we comparing him to? One of the people we call the greatest basketball players. Some call the greatest basketball player. So that's just a lot of pressure in itself right there.
Yeah, juniors always have it tough. It's very rare, and especially how many times have the greats, like Jordan didn't have a kid that played after him.
I think me and my friends, we speak about this a lot. A lot of us have juniors. See how much pressure that is on a junior. To come right behind you, same name, try to fulfill that legacy, and just think at LeBron's level how hard that is. He has to exceed everybody's expectations to be normal. I couldn't imagine. It's tough, but he handles it well. He's got good coaching at home from his dad, so I think he does a great job handling it. I think them as a family, they handle it well. So.
Does he add the same value to any other organization other than the value that he would add to the Lakers?
Well, the value comes with the game. I mean, we got to talk basketball with the bottom line.
Is it all basketball though, or is it business too? Because I feel
it's
like
a little bit of both. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to boil down to basketball. I mean, if it's both, then one's going to. I mean, it's going to have to boil down to basically, the basketball side is what I'm saying. The hype and all the hoopla. I mean, that's everything that new that's happening. You're going to hear the hype. You're going to hear the hoopla. But once that dies down, what's going to happen there? So that's what I'm waiting for right now. I want him. I mean, he seems like the underdog. Everybody's counting him out. I hope he come out and bust everybody's ass. And everybody that's talking, I mean, they got to shut up. That's what I'm hoping for. But we're going to wait and see.
So what do you think in terms of we were talking in a previous episode about player coaches. How do you think, what can JJ kind of add to LeBron's game coming from that side?
Well, being a former player, I mean, you always have, I would say you have an upside because you can see certain things. You know the game. You've been around the game the whole time. So you look at the game a little bit different than somebody who hasn't been on the floor. I mean, you can basically think. I mean, the older coaches could do this when we first came in because they've watched so much and seen so much basketball. But now the game has changed. So the dynamic of a coach who has played, I mean, you kind of know what a player thinks. You kind of know, on and off the court how they function. I mean, so I think that dynamic right there will help, will help them.
What are some of the outside of Los Angeles? What are some of the other free agent moves that you're kind of anticipating?
Well, I'm kind of waiting to see where Paul George goes. Definitely, he's one of those guys that's floating around right now. I'm trying to see where he ends up. I mean, it's going to be a lot of transactions over the next couple weeks leading up to summer league. So I don't know. I'm waiting. So maybe we'll have something to talk about on one of these podcasts, a big one that we're not thinking about. So, the NBA, they got something brewing. I'm pretty sure somebody's going to get swapped out or traded around that we don't know about.
Well, speaking of trading around, the big news was the trade that happened between Brooklyn and New York today. And coincidentally, we had released a video talking about the difference between how New York fans interpret the Nets versus the Knicks with the tradition. And it's funny, I was talking to a Knicks fan earlier today, and I brought up the same exact thing. I said, there ain't no tradition with the Nets, right? He said, exactly, right? He goes, what's the number one arena that people think about when they think about, arenas or basketball, or whatever?
It's funny you say when I played in Brooklyn the first year. I mean, a lot of the Knicks fans, y'all just got a pretty building, a rusty, pretty building with no history in it.
Yeah,
that's what they used to scream at us all the time. That was we just got a brand new building with no history. Like,
well, you know what? They were smart though because they were able to steal a lot of business away from MSG.
Right.
Not so much basketball necessarily. I don't think they really stole that, but I use the WWE as an example.
Oh yeah, that arena.
They used to go. Every show, all the big shows they would do to MSG, but MSG comes with a premium. You want to do MSG.
And then you got to think MSG's booked up.
It's booked up. You got that. And then if you want to broadcast on like a pay-per-view or whatever, then you got to pay extra money for that. So it gets even more expensive.
Yep.
So, but it's still a special time when you do it because it's the history of, any sport, whether it's boxing, basketball, I don't know how much luck they've had in hockey.
I don't know either. I got to check that out.
Which, by the way, shout out to the hometown Florida Panthers.
Baby. Florida Panthers.
Stanley Cup champions.
Congrats, fellas.
Congrats. They had trophy in the Atlantic Ocean. That was ballsy. I mean, those hockey guys, they're different.
That Stanley Cup goes everywhere. Wherever they go.
You couldn't do that with the Larry O'Brien.
No, I've never seen it done, but those guys, wherever they go, that cup.
It reminded me of Tom Brady when they threw the Lombardi off the boat, right? And
I'm pretty sure if it would have fell in, somebody would have dove in after. They would have
definitely gotten it. But at least, I guess now those things can go in the water.
I guess they waterproof.
Actually an interesting discussion, but Stanley Cup, do you consider it, this is obviously playing in the NBA, your goal is to win a championship. So obviously, the
Absolutely.
Larry O'Brien's going to be the most important trophy that you could ever win in your career. But just talking sports in totality, is the Stanley Cup probably the most unique and interesting trophy?
I would say it is, and it gets probably the most recognition because of the way it moves around. Once you win with it, you see that trophy. I don't think any other trophy moves around like the Stanley Cup.
No.
It has wheels on it, basically. It has wings and wheels. It goes everywhere. That's why I think it's so popular.
And what's cool is they engrave everybody's name on it that's on the team.
Right.
So 55 people get to get their name put on it from the winning team. So that's super cool. And I was wondering myself what happens when they run out of room. And basically they remodel the same trophy. Right. So it's not like NBA where every year it's a new trophy and you get to keep the one that you win.
Right.
And, like the Celtics, they have
pass
theirs.
That cup around.
I didn't mean to bring them up, but they have a bunch of them, right? So they don't even keep them all in one spot. They got them at the Garden, and they also have them at the Auerbach Center,
right?
Where they'll have a couple on display there too, right?
Right.
So, that's kind of badass that you have. I like the ability to have your own trophy, but there's something cool about. There's only one trophy. There's only one Stanley Cup.
That's why it's so popular.
And when you get it, you get to do whatever the hell you want with it.
That's why it doesn't stay in the house. How they say it now, it comes outside. The trophy is always outside.
They had it full with beer. They were tossing beer off the balcony at Elbow Room in Fort Lauderdale. I mean, it was insane.
Yeah, they have fun with that trophy. Definitely.
All right, so let's go back to the trade in New York today. So 41 years was the last time, I believe, a trade happened between the Nets and
the Knicks.
Doesn't happen very often. Why is that? Why do you think that it doesn't happen very often?
I don't know. I mean, the Nets really haven't. I mean, I was there the first season. So how many years have they been down there? How many years have the Nets been?
Well, that
2000. What was that?
13,
2011, 12, 13. So I think they just been around 10 years.
We actually just looked this up.
Yeah.
2012.
Yeah, so they've been around just over 10 years. So
yeah.
Not really enough time or history to do any big trades. I mean, they just...
Well, but they were in New Jersey, so that includes the time that they
you
were
count
in New Jersey.
I'm just thinking Brooklyn. I'm just thinking, I don't know. That's interesting. Maybe they want to get the players out of there.
Because maybe just the rivalry between it.
Yeah, I would always think...
it's almost like Red Sox, Yankees. They just did a rare trade last year, I think, but it never happens.
When you play, it was different when, playing out in Jersey. I think the first year I got there, we were playing at the Prudential Center. The last year before we moved it over to Brooklyn. And that was different because we practiced in Jersey, we played in Jersey. Now, when we moved to Brooklyn, it's pretty much like playing for the Knicks. I mean, everything is done in New York. Most of the guys lived in New York. A few guys lived in Jersey. So, I mean, it's pretty much almost the same with both teams being in New York. You just got one in one borough that everybody knows about, and then everybody's in, Brooklyn's in the other borough over in Brooklyn.
Right. All right. Well, we keep bringing up this trade, but we never get to it. So who we got? Mikal Bridges.
I think he's the highlight of the trade.
All right, it's draft day. We're about to sit down and record an episode, but we can't wait to talk about this New York trade. So, Keith, give us the rundown. What happened in New York today?
As you can see here, the New York Knicks, to me, winning this trade. They received Mikal Bridges, second-round pick. We see who the Nets receive. But with the Knicks, they get to put the Villanova Knicks together, is what I like to call them. So you're putting that Villanova college team together that had a lot of success, and you get to take them all in New York, which is already a good team. And for the Nets, I think it's a rebuilding start, and they can take on the Boston strategy, kind of like I was involved in years ago. So if I was the Nets, I would take on Boston's old school strategy.
Yeah, just like, Paul Pierce right here. He was in that deal as well. So hopefully it pans out. That's what the Nets is banking on. They need those draft picks.
And he gets to join his three buddies from college over in New York. So, like, what do you call them? The Villanova Knicks?
The Villanova Knicks, they call them now.
Villanova Knicks. So I just read something earlier driving over here where it says Mikal Bridges doesn't miss a game and loves to play, and Tibbs plays guys 48 minutes. So I think this is going to be fun to watch him play because Josh Hart already doesn't come out the games now. And I play for this guy, so I think he played Joakim Noah the same way. Never took him out. Him and Luau, they played the same way. So it's gonna be fun to watch those four guys. The dynamic, like I was telling you earlier, of having four college teammates that played together, they won together. It's going to be easy for those guys to be the leaders and have guys just fall in line behind them.
Yeah, so how much of a difference do you think that makes when and actually can you think of another example where there is a team that played in college at the level like those guys did
I've seen one or two
in
guys,
in the major?
one or two guys probably be teammates that played in college before. This is probably the first time. I'm going to have to do some research on this. But to have four guys from a team that won in college on the same NBA team, I think that dynamic alone, like even the off the court dynamics of the families and everybody knows each other. It makes it. I was like I told you earlier, it makes the on the court so much easier because everybody's family oriented. So if you're family off the court, you bring that on the court. I mean, it's going to be easy for those guys to operate together.
It probably makes the coach's job a lot
Oh,
easier.
10 times easier. Everybody's on the same page. Everybody's going to hold each other accountable. You got four guys that basically come from the same root, so they already know what their expectations are. So it's not like meshing guys together that don't know each other.
Right.
These
Chemistry's already there.
These four guys know each, and they've been joking, playing all year round. You got your homeboy playing for the Nets right across the bridge. Y'all joking back and forth, and then finally, as soon as the season over with, y'all go get y'all homeboy and bring him back. I mean,
Now, can it also create a situation? What about if you're outside those four players? How do the rest of the teammates taking this?
I don't know. I mean, those going to be the four core guys, and you got to fall in place. You fall in where you fit in, get in where you fit in. I mean, they're going to play a lot of minutes. I mean, so you got four
They're
guards.
going to kind of have a lot of say, too, huh?
You have a lot to say. It's kind of like when I played back in San Antonio. You played with Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and Tim Duncan. I mean, those three guys was the core, and you get in where you fit in. I mean, it's the same way. Now you got, instead of three, I'm looking at it, you got four. So if you can't play with those four guys who are going to know how to play together, you're not going to be able to play.
Now, what about Brooklyn? Now, a lot of people are saying that New York gave a lot up. It almost sounds identical to the situation with the trade that you were in,
Right?
Where people were saying that the Nets at the time, had given up too much,
Right.
and it's almost like now the roles are reversed. It looks like the Nets are going to be banking on these draft picks, just like Boston was.
Right.
We know what happened with Boston. It panned out. 11 years later, they win a championship.
Right.
Is that what the Nets are hoping for? Are they hoping for a Boston move here?
If I'm looking at it, you're going to have to probably rebuild with a young team with the draft picks coming in. I think they brought in Bogdanovich, who one of my favorite guys. I got to coach him in Detroit. Bogey, he can put the ball in the hole. But, you got Bogey, who I think maybe will probably get bought out or traded away. He won't be there long. So now you got all young guys like Boston did. And you're not looking for the short-term process. You're looking for the long-term process. You build these young guys up. It's progression. You watch them get better and better. You keep them together. You may get, a superstar. You never know what you get with those picks, but you got hope in those picks.
I mean, and it's a lot of picks, too. It's 5 first-round draft picks, a first-round pick swap, and a second-round selection. And Brooklyn gets unprotected New York picks in 2025, 2027, 2029, 2031. So, I mean, that's half a decade of stacking.
Just picks. You got picks. You can trade the picks away. You can use that. I mean, it's you got options with those picks. And to load up with picks when you're trying to rebuild, same thing Boston did. Same. I'm looking at it, if I'm Brooklyn and I'm rebuilding, I'm looking at it long term. And those picks are helping me long term.
They also will receive a top 4 protected 2025 first-round pick from the Milwaukee Bucks, as well as a 2025 second round.
So these guys will have all young guys coming in if they don't decide to do anything with those picks. And you just watch these young guys progress over the years and you keep them together.
The Knicks got a 2026 second-round pick from the Nets to round the deal off, though. So
Hey, I think the
They're
Knicks.
they have the future in mind.
I think the Knicks went for what they wanted, and which was Mikal Bridges, and they got him, and that was their main concern to put. I think like the Villanova Knicks is what I want to call them from here on out, and I think they got what they wanted, and we're just gonna see how this pans out.
Now I know New York fans are pretty excited for the most part. They seem pretty energetic.
New York fans
energized
get
by this
hyped.
move.
They get hyped about anything. I mean, anything happening in
They're
New York.
already talking shit to Celtics fans. I see them today.
Absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
like, come on. Now I guess another key contrast too, right? Pierce and Garnett, when they went to Brooklyn, they were at the end of their career. They didn't play much longer after that trade, correct? So it's not like Brooklyn sacrificed a lot for a very short-term gain
Right.
that didn't get them much ultimately.
Right.
For a long-term pain, which is what they've been going through, right? So how long of a runway does the Knicks have with these four Villanova?
It depends on their success. If you win, you stay together. So the whole thing with them is, they're gonna need time to play together. But in the NBA, you got to win. That's the main goal. I mean, teams want to win. I mean, they'll assemble a team. If it's not working, they're gonna break it up. I mean, and the good thing with the Knicks and those four guys, they all can play. So if it doesn't work, which I don't think that's going to be the case, you'll be able to move those guys. But I think they're going to mesh well together.
But then you gave up all those draft picks.
Yeah, but if you
for
got
a failed experiment.
Yeah, but say it doesn't. Say it goes the other way. So I mean, you got to I think it's one of those things where it could go either way, but we're just going to have to wait and see.
Unfortunately, it happened in the Double J era in Boston.
Here we go. What era is this? Every Boston era.
the Jason Tatum and the Jaylen Brown era.
Yeah. That's exactly.
the double J era. Is how I now coin it.
That's what you can call it.
So that's what, unfortunately, for Brooklyn and for the Knicks is that they're gonna have a big roadblock in their way.
Yeah.
For years anyway.
You got to go through Boston now. It's a must.
It is what it is. They just had their parade, as we saw.
I didn't see it. No, I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch it?
No, I'll check it out. I didn't watch it.
It was good. You've been getting a lot of shout-outs on social media. I showed you.
Yeah, you showed me.
I showed you.
Absolutely.
So, and, fair warning, a lot of people like to invoke Keith Bogans' name on X. If you invoke Keith Bogans' name on X, you may be responded to by the Bogans Breakdown channel. I'm not saying it's Keith, but just be careful how you use his name. That's
Definitely we coming back.
So
definite.
All right, so we got the draft tonight. We're gonna do a separate draft episode after we watch it at another date. But anything to look forward to in the draft? What are you kind of looking forward to?
I always love to watch the draft because it was special for me. I got to live in that moment. So, you watch these kids and I say to myself, their life's about to change. As soon as Adam Silver calls their name, it's the life-changing event that you've been dreaming about, waiting for. So it's always good for me to watch. And I'm like, damn, that was me like 30 years ago. So to watch these kids walk across the stage or to hear your name called, I think that's one of the biggest achievements in playing this game from when you're a kid. So I always love to watch the draft. Always fun for me. And I'll watch it from start to finish.
Nice. Well, we're going to see what happens. Again, we'll have the draft recap, so stay tuned for that. And we'll come back at you when we have more trades, free agent signings. We'll get Keith's take on it. We'll break it down, just like how the show says.
Let's break it down. Get to it. Any questions? #AskBogey. Send in your comments. Let us know what y'all think.
Let us know what you guys think. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share the videos. That all helps the algorithm. Help the algorithm out. Bogansbreakdown.com, doing some good stuff there. You can see all the episodes, and we've been breaking up little short clips on there too, so you can see those all separated. So got some good stuff coming on the website. BogansBreakdown.com, at Bogans Breakdown across all social medias. Keith, anything else you want to say?
No, man, just stay tuned, subscribe. We're going to keep kicking this content to y'all and breaking it down, and y'all let us know what y'all think.
And you know what? You were a Wildcat.
Absolutely.
Villanova Wildcats.
No, different type of Wildcats. We don't, so cats don't, we're different type of cats.
But the names are the same, though, right?
Yeah, same, but different place.
You know.
No, I don't know.
I think the colors are the same, too, aren't they?
No, Kentucky blue is the only blue. We don't associate with no type of blue. It's Kentucky blue.
Okay.
Bluegrass
All right.
blue. Yeah,
All
stick
right,
to
fair
it.
enough. All right, well, we'll check you next time. Have a good one.
Have a good
Peace.
one.